Listen, I have a head massager that my best friend bought me. I have a really good vibrator. I'm good.
It's all you need in life. Plus, her horoscope the day before had said she was going to have this amazing night of passion and then death.
I feel like maybe I should live in that world and just start looking at my horoscope
And
every
just
day
following whatever
and
it
just
says.
start do.
But now she's wondering if the death was her self-respect. Does she need a man? No.
Never.
Is she allowing one in her life? Yes, and he should be grateful for that. So, last week, we told you that we were reading between commitment and betrayal. And we did start that book. However, I did not think that you wanted me to go on another episode long rant about starting in the middle of a book and not knowing what was going on. And Angie, fabulous Angie, loves these books and told us that actually you probably should have started a little while back, a different book. And I was like, cool beans. Somebody else should have told us that, but glad we have you. So we decided to start with her favorite series. And it's still a little bit, it's not the technical beginning, but it's still considered on paper a standalone. So instead, this week we read Shattered Vows by Shain Rose. And here's the description. I've traded my hand in marriage for 6 months to save my city. To Sebastian Armanelli, the most powerful man in the city, and the hottest one-night stand of my life. My new husband promises to be a gentleman by day and play his part. But in the dark of night, he's commanding, ruthless, and possessive. I'm starting to feel he can't share what's his. And now that includes me, his lawfully wedded wife. So I want to point out that this says that this is a standalone arranged marriage romance.
Well, yes.
Anyways, hi. Hello.
Listen, Linda, okay? The thing about the Shane Rose experience, as it is an experience, is that if you loved like her very first couple of books, she keeps you in that world, and that is what's amazing about
Girl,
those
I
books.
love being in a world. I love staying in a world, but tell me, because then I'll
Yeah,
be in the whole world.
yeah.
Like almost
Like,
all Pepper Winter books connect, they're all in the same world. But when you read them, most of the time you don't know it unless you are of the world because it's not written in a way to exclude other people.
yeah.
But it's written in a way of, oh, that's awesome. Like there was a book we read fairly recently that we had no idea there was a cameo from another book because we hadn't read the other book. And I think it was either from you or a review online or something that said it was so awesome to have that cameo in. And I was like, I didn't even realize there was a cameo. That's how you do it. Because for people in the world, it's like, this is amazing. For
Easter
people
eggs.
who aren't, they don't
Yeah,
feel like they're not in on something. They can still enjoy that book.
yeah.
But
That's
if
fair.
it is, if they want it to be like that, tell me and I'll start at the beginning.
Yeah,
Tell me it's a connected series, you know?
that's fair.
I got my new flavors. It was on my doorstep when I just got home.
Woo.
Ariel's trying so hard. She really wants Quest to just sponsor us at this point so she can get her correct chips.
I
Dude, I
mean,
really
it's
want
a
my buffalo
struggle.
chips, but I can't buy them anymore because Target's the only place you can buy them and fuck Target.
Fact.
Did I say that out loud? Oops. Fuck Target. Anyways, yes, Quest chips. All the protein, almost none of the carbs. fabulous snack. I'm going to try this new flavor. Would you like to go on this journey with me?
I
This
mean, we
is
might
just
as
free
well.
promotion. That was like, just so you guys know, we're not sponsored by Quest. Ariel's just acting like she is.
Because she wants it. So, Quest, if you're listening,
This is a new flavor. It's called salsa verde. Salsa verde.
I'll say Verde.
you
Salsa,
know, it's
you
kind of
know?
on brand with the whole fuck Target thing.
Yeah. I like them. They're not spicy like my buffalo, but I like them.
Could always add Cholula.
They're definitely milder of flavor than I thought they would be with all the jalapenos on the bag. So,
Or put some tahini on it.
Oh, I love
but
tahini.
I bet you these would be awesome with some dip or some nachos.
Oh, that
I
new
liked
dip you did?
I yeah, or I love to make nachos out of these. These definitely have more of a corny kind of flavor, which is funny because I think they're made out of cheese. So, we went on a arranged marriage journey this week because why not? First of all. Second of all, because Crystal is in the house.
Okay.
We need to do arranged marriages with you in the house.
I do like arranged marriages. I don't know. I am a sucker for an arranged marriage. I'm a sucker for an enemies to lover. I'm just a sucker in general. So, like, yeah.
This girl was a sucker.
Ariel, you're not allowed to be mean the whole day.
I meant she sucked dick. I
No, I know.
wasn't.
No, I got that pun. That's why I was like, girl.
My brain just went instantly to Ariel's gonna be mean, just because that's like her general vibe 99% of the time.
Honestly. So, we start our story with our female main character, Marina, out with her friend Linny. Linny's boyfriend got them a hotel for the night in Miami so they could go to a club and see him. I guess he's going to be at this club in Miami and sent them a limo to bring them there to see him. Marina could definitely use a night out because her grandmother has only another couple weeks to live. She has lung cancer and is refusing further treatment, and Marina could just really use the night off to take her mind off things and just have a break. Linny and Marina play a game in the limo and each give each other a dare for the evening. Marina dares Linny to find out what her boyfriend's job is and invite him to dinner in her hometown. I didn't understand any of this, but I'm assuming it had to do with a previous book. Like, why does Linny not know her boyfriend's job? Why does, like, I assumed these were characters from another book.
Oh no, that was just the way that was because, Lenny's boyfriend was doing something like sketch, I think, from
Gotcha.
what I remember, but it's been a
Yeah,
while.
he's kind of mafia adjacent, which I got, but like, shouldn't Linny know kind of if he's her boyfriend? I don't know. Apparently, Linny is just kind of that free spirited life, which
Okay, but here's the
do her
thing.
thing.
I have people explain to me their jobs, and I don't know their jobs at any point when anyone asks me.
But at least they explain them. Your friend doesn't have to be like, girl, you really need to find out what your boyfriend's job is.
Well, joke's on them because I don't have a boyfriend.
No, but you have a head massager now. That can be your boyfriend.
Ugh, I love it so
Does it
much.
work?
It works great. Listen, I have a head massager that my best friend bought me. I have a really good vibrator. I'm good.
It's all you need in life.
Don't forget the Ethme boots that I bought you for your birthday.
Yes, I'm set, man. I'm set. I don't who needs men?
No one. Who runs
Except for
the
Angie
world?
because she's getting
Girls.
married.
Oh, yes. Sorry. So
Oh,
need is a strong word, okay? Does she need a man? No. Is she
Never.
allowing one in her life? Yes, and he should be grateful for that.
She is.
See? And that's why he's in her life.
and that's why he put a ring on it.
Yes, because he knows to be grateful. Anywho, Linny's dare for Marina is to look around the club and find the guy that she is most attracted to and then actually have a conversation with this man for at least 30 minutes because typically Marina is a wham bam, thank you, ma'am, and let's hook up and not talk or talk about it in any way kind of person. She feels like that's easier, less complicated. Crystal agrees.
I do because that was me.
Once they arrive at the club, they're escorted to the VIP area, and Linny introduces Chad to Marina. They are introduced to a couple other people in the VIP area, a guy named Bastian and another guy named Dante. Apparently, the two of them make sure to run Marina's name and face to make sure she's actually Linny's friend, which is wild. But I don't know if this is some kind of mafia book or what. I didn't actually read the description. Andy just told me to read it, so here we are. Marina thinks that Bastian is too hot and too fancy given his suit and given her endeavor for the night. So she sets her eyes on Dante instead, who's also handsome, but is a more realistic move for her.
Why not both? Sorry.
I mean, that's a me thought
Honey, this is
process.
not the kind of book. This is
I
not
know
that
it's
kind of
not.
book.
I thought it was going that way for a minute. I was like, are we? And then I checked myself.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself. When Dante walks away to go get a drink, Marina asks Sebastian if Dante's single. And Bastian is confused why she isn't hitting on him, which, gross, buddy. Dude. He's actually so offended that he demands to know why she doesn't want to pick him and hit on him. And she's had enough to drink on the way in the limo that she's pretty honest with her answers and says that Dante's a safer bet. And, Bastian's clearly a powerful person in the room, and she's not down with that. She tells him he may be older and wiser and may have experience with women, but she's probably one of the eccentric ones that he tends to avoid normally. She's one that watches for full moons, she believes in signs, she reads her horoscope. He asks what her sign is. She asks if he seriously knows what his sign is. He says no, not at all. Just deadpan. We learn through his point of view that he is there for a business deal at Chad's suggestion, and he's trying to get Chad to do business with him and sign something over to him. Bastian has been trying to clean up his late father's dirty mob business and fix that mess. And now he's sitting here in this club with this hot mess of a woman, wondering just how much of a train wreck she really is. He would have left her alone, honestly, but her picking Dante, his security, felt ridiculous to him, and he just couldn't help himself. Marina's drunk and bored, and she's not feeling the club and wants to get out of there. She keeps looking up over at Dante, and that is bothering the shit out of Bastian. He wants to know what he thinks she can get out of Dante and not with him. She says she's not looking for anything. She just wants a night of fun, and honestly, he seems uptight. And Dante seems laid back and chill. Bastian convinces her to let him show her that he can show her a night of fun, and they go to leave the club. On the way out, Marina tells Linny that they're leaving, and Linny is not pleased and doesn't quite think it's a good idea because she doesn't know this man and is clearly not. They haven't been enough talking. Like, that was the rule. But Dante hands over a business card with his number on it and tells her if she can't get a hold of her friend within 24 hours, that's his name and number, should she need to go to the police. Marina also puts her location on for Linny. Dante tries to make conversation once they get into the car, but Marina feels like they've done enough talking, more than she's ever done, thanks to the bet with Linny, and she kisses him instead. Bastian takes her to the airport, and she's like, what the fuck? She wanted to ride him, not take a ride with him. Like, what is this? Like, he owns a jet. Like, how fucking stupid rich is he? Like, that's
Very.
ridiculous. She's not here for
Mhm.
that. Mm-mm.
Well,
He is very much not like the men she prefers to date, and he is not happy at this, again, being compared to other people. And he convinces her that she needs to give him a chance and let him show her a good time. What does she have to lose? And, she still has all that alcohol in her system, and so she says, why not? Their banter is definitely bordering on enemies to lovers with each other, and I'm pretty sure that's the only reason he wants her. And she, teases him about how big his plane is and everything. And obviously, he has something to make up for. And he teases her about being so much younger and being a little girl and all this stuff. And she's definitely not his usual type, but something about her damn mouth is just forcing his hand. And he kind of hates it and wants it at the same time. He's fucking struggling. And then I learned why Angie probably likes these books so much, because then she tells him that she's not sure he'll live up to the daddy expectation, so that's cute. And then he kisses her.
No,
and
because
tells
why
her to
would
get
you
on
say
his
that?
knees. And then he shoves his dick in her mouth and tells her he can
No.
hope that she can handle him better than his flight attendant.
You know, a warning would have been nice. Just saying.
Yeah, Angie, a warning would have been nice.
But it's so much more fun when we don't. She's left the building.
You're right, Angie. A warning would have been nice.
That's so funny.
We should have known if it was any book that Angie liked that it was Daddy involved, honestly.
That's our mistake.
That's yes, that's what I meant. We should have known. That was bad on us. Truly our fault. They go at it until she has tears streaming down her face, and then when he pulls out, they move into the bedroom. She makes a crack about him being an old man and probably not going to be able to last very long or go for very long because of how old he is. How she's used to younger boys who know how to last. And he spanks her and tells her that he will punish her every time she compares him to someone else going forward. And then he fingers her and he fucks her and spanks her until they pass out. When she wakes up, the plane has arrived. Apparently, he has this tiny uninhabited island that he has bought that he loves to get away on, and that is where they've landed. She's also obsessed with the beach, so she's super excited. And when they get off the plane, they just watch the waves and enjoy the fresh air until they decide to go back on the plane and fuck again. Marina wakes up the next morning very sober, very fuck. She scrambles out of bed, realizing she's on a fucking jet, and scrambles to find her clothes, needing to do the walk of shame very, very quickly. Dante just languidly tells her that there's still like a half an hour of plane ride left that they would need to take to get back, and he's not sure why she's in such a hurry to get dressed. She says that she needs to make it back to get to the car so she can get home. She says she has to meet back at the hotel, and she's also just like, fuck, she's not used to having to actually talk to one night stands. Like, this is kind of baloney. It's so awkward. Plus, her horoscope the day before had said she was going to have this amazing night of passion and then death. And she just assumed that the death part was her grandmother, so she was spiraling, and that led to the whole thing. But now she's wondering if the death was her self-respect.
You know, I think that every day of my life.
They ask the pilot to get them back quickly, and they take off. Marina sits down and starts reading her horoscope to distract herself. Bastian says that he figures they're not exchanging phone numbers. She's like, basically, nah, nah, bro. And he thanks her for watching the sunrise with him and that it was a different experience than he's used to, doing it with someone who appreciates it and the ocean. That she watches the ocean like a mermaid who belongs there. And then they disappear into their own phones for the rest of the flight. She does make it back in time to catch the ride with Linny, and then they fly home back to her hometown of Coralville. She checks on her grandma, who wants to go for a walk on the beach. They have this morbid conversation about where her grandmother's ashes will end up. The grandma wants her ashes to live with Marina, but Marina would rather not have them just be sitting, chilling in an urn inside her house. She'd rather them be spread somewhere, which I agree. I don't want no dead people just chilling in my house. No, thank you.
Then don't go to my mom's house.
I know. That's not my house, though. That's her choice.
My brother is his ashes are at my mom's house.
Her mom just collects dead people. She just goes to
Yeah.
the mortuary and just says,
We
"Hey,
we
do you have
got a
any
cat
unclaimed
just
ashes?"
recently buried out in the backyard too, so
Called the crematorium if she collects cremated people.
She doesn't want her grandmother to be trapped there. Her grandmother says that she'll just be dirt at that point anyway, so Marina can just do what she wants. That she'll try to visit her in a dream if she can. Her grandmother just wants to make sure she'll live her life to the fullest. She feels like she's had a good, quiet life, and there will be a time that she'll be tested, and she just hopes that Marina makes the right decisions. Marina runs a food truck, and her life is basically just running her food truck and surfing and volunteering at the animal shelter. Pretty simple, but that's what makes her happy. I feel that. I really do. The next day, after getting up early to surf and escape her life for a little while, she has to open up the truck. There's already people idling around it, which isn't quite the norm. Usually she has time to change and open up before she has a rush of customers, but then she sees a black Rolls Royce idling in the parking lot. It looks like the same one that she rode in on the way to the airport just a week ago. And sure enough, Dante and Bastian exit the vehicle. She ignores them and opens up the door to the truck and heads right in, starting to prepare a smoothie for one of her surfing buddies. The suited men wait their turn while the beachgoers form their line and she gets out all their orders. When they finally come up, she asks how they found her. Bastian says that he didn't come looking for her. He was looking for the owner of the food truck. She says that's her. He says no. Maribel owns the truck. She says Maribel is her grandmother, and Maribel gave her this truck. Dante starts tapping wildly across his phone screen. She's confused. She's like, what? And Bastian just says that they'll handle it. Clearly, he's not in the mood, and something else is going on. She's just like, what the fuck ever? She just turns back to her blender and says, all right, smoothies it is. And he says that this is the only food truck for 3 miles, and he wants to know how she and her grandmother managed that. Marina knows that she's been very naive when it comes to things, and her grandmother has kept her pretty sheltered, but she's been okay with that. They've both been okay with that. We don't know the full picture yet, but Marina has had the food truck since she was 15 and has worked hard keeping it. He verifies once again that she owns the truck, and she's like, so what? And he says he needs to know if her grandmother has partnerships with other businesses in the area. And she doesn't have a clue and tells him that. The book reads like we should know family dynamic and history, but I'm assuming that's from within the world. I do hate when books are like that. If they say it's a standalone, it should be a standalone. Be upfront that it's a series, and I would gladly read the other ones or explain it within the book because it just makes like you feel like you're missing things. But I'm
To
not going
be
to go
fair,
down the whole rabbit hole.
I will say my favorite of these three brothers, the
Hmm.
series that we're currently on, is the
Is it
last
Cade?
one.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
just
Cade makes this we haven't even gotten to Cade yet, but he makes this comment later on. I'll probably forget it, so I'm just going to say it now. He makes this comment later on that she really should have let him be the one to marry her. And I was just like, fair, fair.
yeah, yeah. It's yeah, fucking gold. I love that man.
Yeah. Yeah. He seems more fun. But anyway, Marina hands them their smoothies and Dante is really enjoying this entire thing. The smoothie, the whole interaction, everything. Bastian is frustrated, partly because when they searched Marina before, it said she had no relation to Maribel. She lived in the next town over, and something about her birth certificate, something weird family shit, I don't know, never was really fully explained. I think it's just, you know, her family trying to protect her. But Bastian tells her that he has business with her grandmother and that he'll see her around. She says, please don't. Bastian's frustrated because he was down to just Miami and this small dinky town as the last places to tie up his father's illegal business doings. He's been at it for years trying to turn his family's business legal, and apparently Maribel partnered somehow with his family, and now he's frustrated because his one night stand is turning out to be a bigger problem than he had thought. They had planned to surprise a visit to Maribel because the older woman had insisted on virtual calls because of her health, and they can't read her well when she's on a screen, and they need to figure out what's going on so that he can legitimize things. When they make the drive to Maribel's house, she is not pleased to see them. She tells Bastian that she only does business with his father. He tells her his father's dead, that he ordered a hit on him. Like, oh, that's nice. She tells him her granddaughter is inside, not to say a word about her shares in the oil company.
To be fair, yeah, their father was a piece of shit.
Yeah,
Like I read those books, and that man deserved everything that was coming to him and more.
she will sell them to him fair and square, but he needs to keep her city running. That's the deal. She won't bend on that. But he's heard she's gone to the Irish instead to have the food truck put on the beach, and that is going against him and his family. She scoffs, saying it's one time just to keep her granddaughter happy. It's not a slight to his family. And she leaves them on the porch, telling them she's going to go get dressed. But when the door opens again, it's not the grandmother, it's Marina, not happy, accusing them of following her. When they say that they're just here to see her grandmother, she tells them they need to leave. They tell her they don't intend to stay long. She tells Sebastian that her grandmother's dying, that she's leaving everything to her, including her debts and alliances, so maybe she should be included in the conversation. If he's here to collect on the town's payment for protection, she should be involved. Maribel comes up behind her saying that Marina is smarter than she gives her credit for, and it is true, she's very sick, and Marina will be taking over the business proceedings whether she likes it or not. Marina's grumbling because she does not, in fact, like it, and she does not want to deal with suits at all. She just wants to run her food truck and surf and enjoy her life. Maribel rubs her chest and promises Marina that it's only a few more loose ends. Marina says she's sorry and that it'll be fine, of course. Bastian says that he's under the impression that they'd like to continue a partnership with his family. Marina asks if they even have a choice. Maribel speaks up and says that everything will stay the same, but when she's gone, Marina will need protection too. Marina says she does not need protection. That's silly, but Maribel coughs out that no one will be safe around there once she's gone, that Marina will need to go into witness protection, die, or she needs to marry one of their top guys, put her in a position of power that no one would dare harm her. Marina is like, what the actual fuck? She's like, oh, it's just for a few years. It's to save your life. No big deal. Bastion's like, he does not want to put one of his guys in that position. But that sparks Marina to be like, what position? And he's just saying he's saving her from arranged marriage. Then she turns the other way, saying his men would be happy to have her. He says his men don't want little girls, which do we actually know how old this woman is? It did not tell us this entire book. So I'm actually really sick of how often he told her how young she was when we don't actually know how young she was. It made me think that he was like a pedophile because, like, how much are you going to talk about her being a little girl and how young she is, and you're not actually going to tell us she's a legal adult?
I'm gonna stop you right there.
I know she's not, but
You called you called Bastion a what now? Oh no.
well,
No,
maybe
no,
he
no,
should
no, no,
stop
no, no,
calling
no,
her a
no.
little girl.
No, 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 Batman. No.
I just wish that they would have at
No.
least told us how old she was. And then it would just be mildly annoying that he says it all the time. And then we would at least know, okay, she's at least 25, you know?
I'm pretty sure she's in her early 20s.
I was going to say, yeah, she might have been maybe 20. I don't know.
Yeah.
You understand that there are a lot of men that the little girl thing goes along with the daddy thing. You know that,
Yes,
correct? That is a
absolutely.
whole subset
That
of things.
absolutely. And that's
So it
why
does fit.
I could have jumped on this bandwagon, albeit not happily, but if I had at least known how old she was. Marina is all up in arms saying, what planet is in retrograde right now? There has to be something going on. And Dante, freaking Dante, just chuckles and says that she must be a Sagittarius. And she just smirks at him and says, yes, that he must be a Leo because she gets along with Leos. And Dante is like, they're going to get along just fine. And Bastion's just like, what the fuck? Because also, what the fuck? Because his dick is about to pick another fight. And he just needs to stop it because he just needs to walk away. So he just says that they'll be in touch. Marina kind of turns on her grandmother once the gentlemen leave, not happy that she's suddenly involved in the mob. The grandmother tells her not to get her panties in a bunch. They're mostly businessmen now, gentlemen mobsters, if you will. She's heard about Bastion. He wants things legal. Marina says that she loves her life there, that the people are good to her. No one's going to harm her. Her grandmother tells her not to be naive, that no one's going to risk their lives for her. And who's going to take care of her when she's gone? If she thinks that she takes care of herself, that's funny. Her grandmother's the one that really pays the bills. Marina insists that she's fully capable of taking care of herself. Her grandmother just says that they'll see. And her grandmother dies that very night.
Just, all right, death, let's go.
Yeah. Marina ignored calls and the doorbell until the day of the funeral, until the day she has to put her big girl panties on and face reality. The town comes together to send Maribel off. Her grandmother, in secret, had chosen Eminem's Without Me as the final goodbye song, which was hilarious.
That is fucking iconic. I'm trying to think what would my funeral song would be.
Right? So Marina just laughed and cried. Bastian was waiting for her outside when it was over, and she asked him what he was doing there. He says he came to say that he's sorry for her loss. She tells him that the wake was only for family and friends. He says he understands, and he knows that the reading of the will is for the next day, and that they're both on it, and he wanted to let her know that it was scheduled for 10. She's horrified that it's this soon. She says that her grandmother just died, but he says he wants business taken care of as quickly as possible. She tells him he needs to leave. He tells her not to make a scene with him, and she's basically like, or what? And he says she will learn who actually owns this little town and not to disrespect him, especially in public, unless she wants her punishment to be served publicly.
Can I just quickly interject because I just got to the page exactly where you are right now? He calls her a little girl in Italian. He says piccola ragazza, so it's
Yeah,
hot.
he
So
does it
thank you very
both
much.
ways, actually, a lot, but yes. Again, I would be fine if I knew how old she was. Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, you're about
Just
to yell at me
Angie's,
again
so it's
because,
hot.
and I know this is a me problem, but I am so sick of her calling him daddy already because then she whips back with, is that so, daddy? He says, not here, not today. She gets this one, and then hands her a little glass bottle. It's a mix of rose, lavender, and chamomile oil. And he says it's for healing and comfort. He figured she would like it. And to please not fight him, he will see her tomorrow. Marina had every intention of not going to the will reading the next day. But however, when she woke up, she woke from a crash in the kitchen that she assumes is her grandmother giving her a sign. And not only that, but her horoscope tells her to basically follow the lead of the signs in front of her. Like,
Honestly,
bitch.
I feel like maybe I should live in that world and just start looking at my horoscope
And
every
just
day
following whatever
and
it
just
says.
start do what it. Have you seen the videos across TikTok that are talking about doing your makeup per your
Yes,
astrological? I haven't researched into mine.
I know.
Can only imagine what mine's going to be because my sign is just always a hot mess every single time. Also,
I think
my
it's
sign is always the one
your
that
rising or something.
everyone seems to fucking forget to include with things
No.
every single time. And
I
honestly,
send you
though,
things all the time.
you do. But so I have found a lot of videos most of the time where they'll go through the entire zodiac, everybody, and
Oh, I
Wheel.
never.
leave off Aquarius at the end.
Oh,
And
I
I'm
never
like,
see it without yours. That's weird.
I see it all the time. And honestly, though, I will say that probably kind of fits the vibe of an Aquarius. So I guess that makes sense.
I figured it
We're
would fit
so
the vibe of
flighty
a
that we're just
Pisces
not included.
because they just feel like they're not included in everything.
I
I
feel
know.
like Libra, if I did my face the way Libra would make their face up every day, I would have to account for 2 extra hours because these bitches are like, they're like social butterflies and they want to get in good with everyone, which means they have to look perfect all the time. I can't do that. That's too much pressure.
What's Taurus is getting
I
ready for bed makeup? That's probably mine.
I need to look into this. I will research because I need to know because I want to know mine. I want to know how I should do my makeup per my sign.
Marina is not happy. She begrudgingly gets ready and decides to be spiteful and gets ready in her bathing suit because she's just like, she'll go surfing afterwards. She realized that this is not the best idea when she gets there and all the lawyers are sitting there all fancy like, and she probably shouldn't have done that just to spite
But
Bastion.
I love doing stuff out of spite.
Yeah. Yeah. They just sit down and the lawyers begin. The lawyer hands Marina a letter that her grandmother had written her at the time that her last will was updated, which was only a day or two before she passed. He explained that there are some quirks in the wording, but he will be sure to explain everything. The lawyer begins by explaining that her great great grandfather began the oil company and that the oil company basically runs the town, which is actually news to Marina. She did not know that they had anything to do with it. I mean, obviously, she has hints now that they have something to do with the town and the oil company the night before her grandmother died, but before all this, she had no idea. Apparently, the majority stake in the company was left to her grandmother. Her grandmother changed her name and then mostly ran in secret so that it wasn't as dangerous for her family. Without her as majority shareholder, the rest of the board wants to sell to a bigger oil company that is a direct competitor. Her grandmother did not want this because it would be a bad effect for their small town. But now, reading the will, the shares are being left to Marina and the choice. The majority stake is in Marina's hands, and they say that Bastion would be a better fit for the company to go to if Marina chose to sell her shares instead to the big company. However, that is only allowed if Marina marries into the Armanelli family, Bastion's family. because her grandmother said that she wants to keep Marina safe at all costs. Marina is not happy. Bastian is also not happy. He doesn't want to be tied to her either, but he also wants the shares and the company. She wants to save the city. But she thinks this is just cruel and that Bastian gets everything out of this and she gets nothing. If the other company gets it, they'll just dismantle the town and fire all the people and bring their own in, and the town will be no more. And Marina just wants to live with her food truck and have her simple life. Is that too much to ask?
Yes.
Sad.
By the way, when you said save the city, I just said to myself, like Batman.
The letter that was handed to Marina will explain in further detail, but the lawyer goes on to say that the stipulations are pretty strict if they choose not to go ahead with the arrangement. Then the big company will get their shares, and if they do, they have 1 week to get engaged and 1 month to be married. And at the end of a 6 month period, Marina may sell her shares to whomever she wishes, meaning Bastian, if she feels he's worthy at the end of 6 months. Marina says absolutely not. She can't do this, and she goes to leave. Dante tries to reason with her, telling her that her gut is pulling her in lots of different directions right now and that it's okay. Just put her hand on her stomach, feel her breaths, let it out, release the negative energy, get her head right. She does, and when she's finished, she calmly says that she needs a day to think. And when Bastian goes to say something, she says 1 day is fair. He asks what she's afraid of, and in the end, that she will be paid fairly. There won't be many rules, and they can make this work. It's just them. She says there is no them. He says that she needs this more than he does. The town needs this. But he wants it. It's a partnership and an opportunity to do things safely and legally. She feels like he's asking her to give up everything and to trust him. She tells him that she understands it isn't a big deal for him, that he's been a part of this his whole life, but hers is the opposite. She's been absolutely free. He needs to give her the day to think. He tells her to keep it quiet until they decide things. The company doesn't need more at stake. Tomorrow they can make a decision. She says she'll call him. She, in fact, did not call him, and after 2 days of no calls, Bastian got sick of waiting and drove to her house. He finds her answering the door, breathless and in yoga clothes, clearly interrupting something, and is not too happy when her surfing buddy comes up behind her. Bastian tells him that he's supposed to be her fiance, so she probably won't be giving him a home run anytime soon. And Surf Guy just turns to Marina and says that she's a free spirit, and he gets that. And he gets that she's hurting from her grandmother passing, but she's not alone. She can't just marry a suit on a whim. Bastian just stops him and says that he and his fiance need to talk, to leave. Marina just tells him it's complicated. She'll talk to him later, and then he leaves. Marina's not happy that Bastian was flailing around the fiance word. He says she didn't say no yet. I mean,
Uh,
he asks what her answer is, and she says she didn't call because she doesn't have an actual answer. He figured, but they don't have time for that. The will didn't give them time. That she should just marry him, get it over with. She can go back to her life in 6 months. She says if they sleep together again, it won't have anything to do with the partnership. It won't change her mind about him. He says he doesn't want to sleep with her again.
well then, sir.
A fine fuck doesn't seem like a good risk to take when he needs her to realize she's serious about the company he wants to buy those shares. And she asks what if she says no. He wants to know if he's that offensive, that she can't live with him for more than 6 months. She honestly doesn't know if she can live with anyone for 6 months. He doesn't really
I
know
don't even
her,
want to live with anyone for 6 months,
right?
and
He's just going to be disappointed with the partnership,
sometimes.
right?
Honestly, here's the thing. If they're going to be living together for 6 months with no sex, what's the point?
Right? Yeah.
Sorry.
It's just 6 months of them putting on a show. That's it. He wants to know if that's something she can do. They will have to schedule time being seen together and then move her things to a place near the company over the next week. And she's like, what the fuck? A week? That's fast. But he has a timeline to follow. Like, was she not at the same will reading? Like, girl.
I will say a lot of the like idiosyncrasies of this character, like he is very much like OCD as fuck. Like he needs
But
everything
it
proper to
was
have its
timelined
place. And
out. Yeah.
yes, and it was timed out on the contract, which if you notice, he was just very chill about it. His lawyer was throwing a fit on his behalf because, of course, it's what he pays him for. Like your lawyer is supposed to be out there arguing because you get the best deal if you negotiate, whatever. But he was just like, okay, that's reasonable. Yeah, fucking like yeah. But no, it's not reasonable. But there is structure, and he likes that. There's no
Yeah.
structure with Marina. She wouldn't even
No.
know. She wouldn't know
She
what
go-
structure was if it hit her in the face with a movie.
no, she
Like,
goes with the flow.
So basically, what you're saying is I am Marina
And I'm Bastion.
oh, you both work so well together.
most days.
She says people get around wills all the time, that they can get married and live separately. They not do what the will says word for word.
So like that's Ariel's perfect scenario.
She says she'll text him and they can iron out the details. And he gives her a look like, is she really going to text him this time?
No.
He says he wants this to work out for them both. And he leaves. And she decides that it's good a time as any to rip off the band-aid and read her grandmother's letter. The letter basically says that she's going to marry Bastian. Like, you're going to do this because it'll keep her alive and keep the town alive. So it's up to her to see if Bastian wants what's best for the oil company. That her grandmother wants to trust him, but Marina knows the town and she wants her to be sure. 6 months isn't that long, but it's long enough for her to figure him out, and that she wants to give Marina a chance to save the town that she loves. She doesn't care about the money, but she cares about Marina and she wants her married, of course. She's always teased her about that. She tells Marina not to be scared to commit, and she signs it the grandma who haunts her. Marina starts to
Honestly,
cry.
I feel like I would also do that. This grandmother is a treat because A, without me from Eminem, come on. Then signing a letter to the grandmother who haunts you, that is going to be me. That is going to be me.
Yeah.
And I love that.
She grabs
Grandma's
her
my spirit animal.
yeah. She grabs her surfboard and heads to the water so she can breathe and just get out of her head. Bastian is woken up at 5 in the morning the next day by his brother, who's calling to say he needs to get to the food truck. That Marina went into the truck and seemed to stay there for the night, but then hours later, 3 guys broke in. They caught all this on traffic security cameras in that section of the beach, and that he needs to send somebody over to check. Bastian gets Dante and they head over. Dante checks his cams and says that he could see that the men weren't there for very long, but she was seen after that, so he's guessing she's fine. But Bastian's pushing him to speed there. Dante teases him, like, how now he cares about her, or is it just the company he's concerned about? When they get to the food truck, they find a groggy Marina. She says she thought it was just a dream. She heard people banging around and hearing someone say they swore she was there, but she just stayed really still and had a blanket over her because she just has this like little hidden roof bunk thing and it's kind of tucked in. Sebastian says that they're on it, trying to figure out who it was and that they can help her restock and fix up the truck because it's trash on the inside. She barks up. She doesn't need help. But then she apologizes, saying she's not a morning person unless she's in the water. And he just says, let's go to the water. And she's like, we? And they just stand there in the water, letting her fully wake up. And she's just
And then his
sighs.
phone rings, and she's like, "You can get that," and he's like, "Nah, they can wait." And I'm just like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, she just sighs and says she guesses she'll be moving sooner than planned. He wonders if it's because of the food truck, but she just says maybe, or maybe because she read her grandmother's letter and her grandmother was probably just trying to trap Bastian into protecting her. And he's basically like, well, look what just happened. And he tells her he already got them a place, and she says that she'll pack up and head when she's ready. That she'll probably need a few more nights to clean up the food truck and get it set. He's like, she's not staying there. Absolutely not. He will drag her to the new place if he has to that very day. He needs to protect what's his. That's her. He tells her he'll leave Dante there to watch her truck while she goes and packs, and then Dante can drive her over when she's ready. She surfs for a little while and then puts up a closed until further notice sign on her food truck, and then gets in the car with Dante, who takes her over to her grandmother's to pick up some stuff. Dante has a file for her and says it's documentation for her to look over, like prenups and whatnot, and information on the oil companies that she's going to need to know about before the next board meeting. She's like, oh, yippee, homework. Woo. They get to the house and she packs up a couple suitcases and they head to the new place, which happens to be on the 50th floor of the building. Good Lord. She's very overwhelmed, more so when he tries to tell her that her salt lamps and plants are not going to be welcome there. And she's basically like, they're staying. He says he'll show her to her room, and she wants to know if they're going to pretend to sleep in the same room when people come over. And he's basically like, the King and Queen of England have different bedrooms. And she's like, yeah, that's not going to work. Nobody's going to believe that. He shows her to her room, and then he shows her to where they'll pretend to share, in her opinion. And they call the lawyer and inform him that they're officially engaged and have moved in so that they can legally document that milestone. And then Marina doesn't see Bastian for the next 3 days. Sebastian gets a call from Cade, his brother, saying he's actually on his way there to the new place to check it out to make sure the security cams are all set and to meet Bastian's new fiancée in person, and that he's got his niece with him. Apparently, there's this whole situation. I'm assuming it's from another book because it reads like it. The niece is Ivy and her mom is Katie. And Katie calls up Bastian and says that she's not going to be going on a plane twice in one day. She's pretty mad that Cade took her randomly on a plane to begin with. And so now Ivy is Bastian's problem for the night, that he better go there quick and take care of her and treat her right because Katie can't get there fast enough. Apparently, Cade is a little irresponsible. So Bastian heads to the new penthouse to face the woman he's been avoiding for days and have his brother and his niece witness the whole awkward affair. When he gets there, Ivy's already bouncing off the walls and he tells everyone that they can go to the amusement park, but not until the morning because Cade can just not bring a tired kid to amusement park in the middle of the afternoon like he had planned, that they'll go in the morning. And Cade is like, awesome, movie night. And Ivy wants Marina to join them. But Marina says she has to go take care of some dogs first, and then she'll be back to watch whatever Ivy wants. But apparently she said the wrong word because both the men are like, and Ivy is like, yes, that she wants to go see the dogs. And Marina's like, shit. Ivy's like, everyone can come. Marina's like, no, they can't. Ivy's like, why? And Marina's just like awkwardly, it's like, well, nobody really wants to hang out. They haven't wanted to hang out. Marina says she's not going to be there long. She just needs to do a quick sweep with the kennels and the animal shelter. And Ivy just wants to make sure there's dogs. But Marina's been overwhelmed for days. This is not her comfort place. She needs her crystals, her oils, her surfing, being by the ocean, surrounded by all this money, and then having him gone, just left for days. Not good.
First of all, surround me by all your money and leave me the fuck alone, and
The
I
only
will be happy.
the only person that
I
she
can buy
knew
new
was him,
crystals and
and he's
buy new
gone.
surfboards.
Well, she does not. She prefers the boring life. As she's getting ready,
I prefer a
Bastian,
boring life too, but money makes it better. I don't know. Where's the problem?
as she's getting ready, Bastian says that they can go see the dogs and watch the movie and then act like children at the park, and then they can be boring afterwards. At the shelter, Ivy and Men visit with a dog that's lonely and just wants attention, while Marina does her duties. Bastian ends up catching up with her, figuring that an extra set of hands would be helpful. And he wants to know why she doesn't have a dog of her own. She clearly gets attached to all of them and clearly favors the one she brought in for Ivy. And she doesn't travel, but Marina insists that she doesn't have the time that it needs. And even though she does truly have a bond and wishes the one she brought in for Ivy with hers, it's just not right for her right now. He wants to know if it bothered her that he was gone for so long from the new place. And she tells him that she's uncomfortable there. Everything's basically glass. Like, hello. He didn't even want her to bring her comfort things. They make it back to Ivy and Cade, and Sebastian says that in the future, when she comes in the evenings, he would prefer to be with her to make sure she's safe. She compromises and says that she'll at least let him know when she goes. They set up the fort in the living room and watch the movie. Marina attempts to read through the giant file, but Ivy dozes off, and so does Marina. Cade scoops Ivy up and brings her into the bedroom and says he'll take the spare room, since clearly Marina's not going anywhere anytime soon, and Bastian probably isn't either. Bastian tries to wake her up to move her to her room, but she's all groggy and kind of giggly flirting with him because she's not used to being abstinent for so long. And they might as well use each other if they're going to be with each other. He tries to tell her no, that she'll regret it in the morning, but she kind of just starts to pull her shirt up. And he ends up fingering her, but then he just kisses her forehead as she drifts off back to sleep, saying he's not going to fuck her or fuck this up. And she just needs to rest. When she wakes up, she's tangled, cuddled up with Bastian on the couch, with thankfully a blanket over them, or the 4-year-old Ivy would see them in a position that's not quite G-rated. And they end up grinding on each other and tease each other verbally for a hot minute until Ivy yells for Bastian from the kitchen saying it's time for breakfast, causing things to cool down real fast. Marina says to eat without her, that she's going to go ahead and take a shower. They all get ready and head to the amusement park with a lot of security. And Marina's like, what the fuck? They explain that they have Katie's kid and they need to be really careful because apparently Katie is a brat princess of some sort and is married to their cousin and enforcer, or used to be, and all that jazz. Kate and Ivy head off to do some rides, leaving Sebastian and Marina together to make sure that they're seen publicly. They ride rides and even pose for a picture on the log flume ride where Bastian grabs her and kisses her for the camera. It's a little too touchy and real for her, but she went with it. They meet up with Kate and Ivy, and there's this instance where a man bumps into Marina as she's pushing Ivy in the stroller, and nope. And Bastian goes all caveman and forces him to apologize, and she goes a little starry-eyed. And it's kind of funny. Crystal's dying at Batman.
Yeah, that's literally what I'm laughing at. She called him
I'll be right
Batman.
back. You guys keep going.
Okay.
Cade worked his magic through the park, and they did not have to wait in any lines. Cade is like some kind of IT tech genius. When they are through at the park, they bring a tuckered out Ivy back to the penthouse where her parents are waiting for her. After everyone leaves, Bastian and Marina retire to their own bedrooms for the evening. A week goes by, and Sebastian makes an effort to get back to the penthouse each evening. The papers did pick up on their outing together, though they did not have the long flume ride photo. Marina was surprised to see that Sebastian thought the photo was not fit for public consumption. She doesn't know that, though. Marina is still trying to finish going through the file, so Bastian says he will help her finalize it one morning. He makes some crepes, and she is over the moon trying them for the first time, and they get down to it. They talk about a gala they have to attend coming up. It's going to be like their big debut, a charity gala that the company puts out every year, and that's where they're going to announce their engagement. They'll marry quickly after that, and she'll have all the information by then and can attend board meetings and work at the food truck when she can. She's stoked to be able to get back to the food truck. Apparently, Cade found the guys who ransacked it and assures that they will not be a problem again. Once her brain is overloaded, he sees that and asks if she wants to go surfing now because he knows that if she doesn't surf in the mornings, her brain is kind of mush. And he even offers to go with her. He may not know how to surf, but it can't be that hard, right? Marina's surf buddy, Bradley, and occasional hookup partner usually keeps aboard in her food truck, so she has an extra one for Bastian to borrow. Though she does make a comment about how Bradley is probably bigger than Bastian, but she thinks the board will be okay. Bastian is not amused. They get to the water and she explains how to do it. Though Bastian is quite cocky and thinks that this is going to be easy, she thinks this is going to be amusing. He's knocked off immediately on his first wave. She admittedly was distracted by his abs while he was surfing, so she wasn't the best teacher, but he did keep trying, so that's what's important. She ends up calling it a day when he comes up bleeding from scraping the bottom of the floor after yet another fall. He's not impressed. He thinks that she thinks that he just can't do it, but she just assures him he just needs practice. Nobody just learns it in a day. He can come back. Bastian himself had enjoyed watching Marina in her natural element and in her tiny bikini. He decides he's going to make them pasta for dinner, handmade, and she vows that he needs to be careful because she won't be able to get on the surfboard if he keeps cooking for her like that, and she might just end up falling for him. Does he really want to bring somebody who can't fit in her dress to the gala and then propose to her? He tells her she could eat anything she wants. And when she finally gets to try the dish, she's obsessed yet again with his cooking and can't believe she'll be able to eat all this good food for 6 months. He's just too distracted by hormones of pleasure about the food, and she wants to know what she'll do when 6 months are up. He says he'll teach her to cook the dishes, and she says she'll teach him to make smoothies. When she's full and happy and feeling gooey from all the pasta, as they're putting the dishes away in the dishwasher, Marina leans in and kisses Bastian. He pulls back and questions her instead of ravaging her like she kind of expected. So she apologizes and says that they kissed at the theme park, and he corrects her, saying they kissed for the cameras, and she says, but the couch. gosh, she just doesn't know. There's something in the air. She felt cooped up, and then they surfed, and then he was a decent human being, and she understands it wasn't a good idea. It's too much. She's learning all the stuff behind the stocks. She didn't know that there was actual millions of dollars at stakes. It's insanity. This fake marriage thing scares her, and he's in her space with his food and his voice and his butt, and she's used to having sex. He just stops her. He does not want to hear about her sex life. He says maybe she just needs an outlet, that he can't have her around him all ready to go all the time without being able to deliver. Maybe he needs an outlet too. As they get closer, he softens his voice and says that he guess no one really needs to know what's going on. I thought this was going to go somewhere, but instead, that dingleberry goes, maybe they can attend the gala separately, and she can do what she needs to do
Oh,
beforehand. And so can
Angie's
he.
face.
And I was just like, boy. She's frustrated because she
No,
thought
because
that he was going
he
to
thought
she thought what I thought, that he was going to close the gap between them, not distance it further.
he wants to do that because he wants to do the smart thing, except he's not
I
taking into
know.
account that he's a man.
I know.
He can't do the smart thing.
I know.
Sorry.
I know.
Angie, God damn
Like
it.
I love him, but that's
I know. But then they're wondering if this might be a better plan, because maybe this will cause a bigger scene if they come with different people and then end up leaving together. It might be more of a publicity thing. So she's going to take Bradley. He's not happy, but he forces out if that's what she wants to do. Like, bitch, this was your idea, ass fuck. She says, perfect. And she makes a joke about how he's going to profess his love at the end of the night after seeing her with another man. She says he should bring someone too. And he says he doesn't want to bring anyone. She says it's only fair that they both get some and have an outlet. He says this is not going to end well. And a duh. But then he says they can sleep with other people and still be married. Couples do that all the time, which she's not a fan of, but says okay. And she texts Bradley to make sure he can go. So a few days later, Marina gets ready and meets with Bradley. Bradley's suit doesn't quite fit right, and she's just reminded about how good Sebastian looks in his suit every day, all the time, like a Greek god. And she admits to Bradley that she's kind of using him for the night, but he's on board, saying they've always used each other. He says he'll do whatever he can to make that man jealous and do whatever she needs. Once at the party, she meets some of the other board members, and the old men are a little patronizing towards her. They, of course, want to sell to the other company and make sure it's a smooth transition for her. They're just glad to see she's not with that Armanelli fellow like they thought in the tabloids. Marina sees Bastian and his supermodel looking date and feels sick. She decides it's time to take Bradley on a self guided tour. She finds an empty room and pulls him in and kisses him. He stops her when she goes to unbutton his pants, though, saying he knows she doesn't really want this and he would gladly take advantage of the revenge fuck, but he doesn't think she would enjoy it the way he would. She just sighs and says she wishes he was more of a jerk. He says he's going to catch a ride back to the beach and he leaves the room. He pulls the door mostly closed, so she decides she's going to take her pleasure in her own hand, slipping her hand down her dress. But she gets caught moaning Bastian's name by the man himself. He wants to know if she enjoyed herself and if she enjoyed Bradley. She wants to know how long he's been there. He says long
That's a
enough to
valid
know.
question.
Yeah, right? He says long enough to know she didn't like Bradley enough. She wants to know where his date is and if he had fun with her. He says, of course, that his date is good at what she does, unlike hers. And when she
Oof.
tries to leave, he says that she was the one who wanted dates, not him. It was her idea. He tells her that he didn't actually have his date. He couldn't. All he wanted was Marina. Instead, he had to sit and watch her kiss another man, and he does not enjoy sharing.
like I said, he wanted to do the smart thing, but he can't because he's a man.
Right? He says she can't find a release with anyone because she's had him. now. And she tells him this wasn't the plan, that someone might come in. And he's putting his own hand up her dress. And he says that's the point, to make it known. And he fingers her and then fucks her right there on someone else's desk. When they're
Okay.
finished, yeah, she quickly shoves him away and leaves the room. He calls Kate and tells him that he's moving the marrying her up to tomorrow. Prepare the paperwork. He's done tiptoeing around. He needs to lock this down, lock her down. He heads to the ballroom to find her, and once he does, he gets right up behind her, tells her to smile, and gets down on one knee. He gives her this whole speech in Italian that she doesn't understand about how beautiful she is and how she's like the ocean. And then she sees the ring. Surrounding the main stone, there are crystals instead, like the same ones she likes to carry in her pocket so that she can always have them on her. And she can't help but tear up a little at that. That was really cute and sweet. And the crowd claps and cameras go off, and their arrangement is officially official. And they leave. And once they're back in the car, Marina thanks him for the ring, but then lets loose because he wouldn't even kiss her a few days ago. And the whole point of them going with other people was to release their sexual tension. And now he's fucking her in public like he owns her. Like,
I mean, he
bitch,
kind of does
right? He
in a way.
admits, yeah, he still doesn't think it's a good idea that they should be together in that way. She's too in his head. He
He's
even
a man.
considered checking his horoscope that day. She tells him
Uh,
he's crazy. She just wants to go to bed when they walk in the penthouse. And he informs her they're getting married the next day, that she will be his wife, and she will not be spreading her legs for anyone after that. She just goes to her room and slams the door. When she wakes up the next morning, she reads her horoscope and she stubbornly puts on a white baggy t shirt over a bikini. Like, sucker, because that's what she's going to wear. He tells her they have an appointment to sign papers in 2 hours, and he apologizes for the night before about sending mixed signals and that fucking her shouldn't have happened because she needs a clear head when she makes decisions about the shares. And him screwing her is not giving that to her. She tells him he's an idiot. Fair. And sex is not going to muddle her brain. He gives her a plate of freshly made crepes, and she digs in, relenting, saying she'll go change after. But then she talks about how she guesses that someone will get tipped off and there'll be people waiting to take pictures when they leave the courthouse, and she doesn't want to look bloated for pictures, so she stops eating. He's like, absolutely not. And then he starts to hand feed her. He's like, you will eat. So Marina quickly goes and changes and then cuts a thread on her bracelet and makes him up a little ring from these like flat stones on her bracelet because it's last minute and he needs a ring too. Duh. The ceremony's fast because it's just in front of the judge and they just sign papers. But as they walk out, they are in fact bombarded with paparazzi. The only thing Sebastian has to say to them is that Marina Armanelli is his. She tells him he's over the top. He tells the driver to go to the oil company because he's going to give her a tour. She didn't get a chance to give him the ring in the courthouse because it was weird in front of the judge, and now she's just like fiddling with her in her pocket. He doesn't talk much about his parents because his father obviously was not great, mobster and all, and his mother got her life sucked out of her by him. But Marina asks him if his parents were married, and he says yes, that his mother loved his father, and that's probably what killed her. He just wishes that she loved herself enough to leave. That sometimes you have to be bold and go against the people you love the most. She wants to know if he's ever done that because it seems like he does all he can for his family. He tells her that he murdered his father and took his life to take away the filth in his family, and she's just stunned. He just confessed one
I
of
would
his
be
darkest
stunned. Was she too
secrets,
stunned to speak?
right? Without hesitation. She's not sure how she feels. She knows there's fear in there, but she also feels the need to
He'll
comfort him
do
a
it
little.
again.
She also has a little bit of arousal. Yeah, right? He would.
Well, if it's getting her turned on, maybe he'll just kill a bunch of people for her and everything
Right?
will be fine.
Yeah, I wish that we got a little bit more insight on her feelings towards all that because there was hints here and there, and I'm like, we need to go more down this little mobstery road here. He tells her she's family now, that he would kill for her too. She needs to be careful. Her life is precious, but it's safe with him. But Men around her, he'd put a bullet through their skulls if need be.
Okay.
She tells him once again he's a little over the top. He just shrugs and says they're married now. She
Because
says,
that
speaking of,
that
yeah,
changes the
valid.
over the top thing. We're just
Yep,
married now. It's fine.
valid. She says, speaking of, and then holds out the ring to him, explaining it was one of her bracelets, but she made it smaller for him. It's made of black tourmaline and it's supposed to block out bad energy and protect and also give strength. She didn't have anything else, because it was quick. He quickly grabs the ring and says that his mother would have done anything for his father. He didn't understand because his father wouldn't have returned the favor. But his mother used to say that if you care for someone, you do it even if they don't care for you. And he's starting to understand the sentiment. Marina agrees and says to love and be loved the same way is very hard to find. And he puts the ring on his finger and they pull up to the oil company. He walks her through it, very open and honest, and explaining all her choices and all her options, including keeping the shares and selling to others and what it would mean. And he explains what he would want to do with them as well. She nods and says this was all part of the file, but he agrees and says it's easier to see visually for her. And she appreciates that. A man approaches them on their tour, questioning if he's Bastian Armanelli. And Bastian tells him there are two guns trained on him and he shouldn't try anything. But he tells Bastian that he is, in fact, an Irish family man, but some of them want what Bastian wants, and that his family loves the city, and that he will back Bastian if a partnership comes through. And he moves along. Marina is like, what the hell, guns? He says that there will always be a sniper watching out for her. He'll not risk her safety. She accuses him of being overprotective. She asks if, when she starts working at the food truck tomorrow, will there be somebody there too? He says yes, but she can't start at the food truck. They just got married. The paparazzi are everywhere. She needs to wait. He vowed to protect her, even if it's from himself. 3 weeks later, and Sebastian has been working from home for her. But Marina declares that today is the day she's going to go clean up the food truck and get some ingredients and start it up again. He's confused. He's like, the routine they've established has been great. He arranged things so he could be home and she wouldn't be lonely. Like, what's the problem? She says
I'm giving
that
you all the companionship and none of the dick you want. What could
what?
possibly be angering you right
Right.
now?
You don't have your job, you don't have your ocean, you don't have Dick, but I'm here. Isn't that good? Men.
It would be so much better if there was dick involved.
If there was dick involved, you can dickmatize her, and then she'll be good off the endorphins, and then maybe she won't need the ocean as much as she does right now. But
Right?
He's got to
that's
give
not
her the
happening.
motion in the
So,
ocean to make her forget about the real ocean.
exactly.
She says they're married now. Things have died down. She can get back to work. She's read all she can about the company and even made a ton of bracelets and stuff. And she's ready for the board meeting next month, ready to get on with working again. He tells her that a driver will take her to the food truck and back and stay with her for security purposes and not to argue. He wants to make sure she's safe. And
Just
to
know if anybody ever
please,
tells me to not argue, I'm instantly going to argue.
right? And to please wear shorts to work. He doesn't want her in her bikini.
So, bikini and arguing, got it.
He makes it a whole hour before he drives down to join the long line to get a smoothie. Everyone was happy that the food truck was back open again. Evidently, he decked out the food truck with all new appliances and cleaned it out for her after the mess so she didn't have to, and she's over the moon when she sees him and kisses him without reservation. He can deal with it. And then she takes her time showing every single new thing that he got and how excited she is about it. She decides that she's taking him surfing again, and Bastian grumbles about having to use Bradley's board again. Like, he bought all this stuff for her truck and he didn't just buy a board. Like, it's just, yeah.
He's a man.
Bastian, yeah,
Listen, a board is a commitment to her and, her favorite hobby. But, funding the entire renovation of her truck, it's
it's an
fine. Okay.
investment.
It's an investment, one, and two, I mean, people trashed it, and she should have those appliances anyway because she wants them, even though she hasn't asked for them and never kind of would have asked for them. But no, it's
Yeah,
fine.
it's fine. He tries and tries and tries, but is still unsuccessful at surfing. And she tells him that it's okay, but he's really insistent. But then she tells him that she'll give him anything if he masters it today. He's like, today? No way. She's like, he's so close that she's never taught anyone to get on and ride in less than a week. This would be epic for her. Like, for her. And he watches other people eye her in her bikini and he says, then fine. I do it. You wear one piece next time. She says, not happening. There's a topless beach down the road if he'd prefer to go there. He's not happy. And she says, fine, she'll compromise and wear a sports bra the next time. Better? He begrudgingly takes the compromise. So another month goes by and they fall into a routine. Marina doing her food truck and volunteering at the animal shelter, and Bastion working and coming home in the evenings. She even goes to a board meeting, even though it's boring as fuck with all the old people and them still trying to convince her that her shares are hers, even though she's married and it's her call and she gets to choose. When she gets back, she finds Bastion taking care of her plants, and it's super cute. He's just like misting them.
It's like the begrudging cat dad. Oh my God, I have a meme. I don't know if, oh, that's backwards, but
I don't know.
it says, Dad doesn't want a cat. Family buys cat anyway. Dad and the cat. And then it's just this picture of like the
Yes.
dad doing the drums and the cat singing Mike. It's freaking
Yeah.
him. It's just those are the vibes.
Marina needs to take some calming breaths as she watches him with the plants so that she doesn't jump him because, you know, real, real facts here. One of the old skeezy men at the meeting told her about the next event for the company in a couple weeks, and it's at the topless beach that she had mentioned. So Marina and Bastion decide to go, even though Bastion is insisting on her wearing a t-shirt. She says she's wearing a bikini, and he can't leash her. What does he expect? Like, hello? And she kind of like jabs at him, like, what's going to happen when we're divorced? Like, you can't control me. And he's like, well, guess the honeymoon's over. It's only a couple months in. She's already discussing divorce. She grumbles that the honeymoon didn't even start. And she makes a jab that maybe they should start shit at the party and make it look like they're going towards divorce so it won't seem strange. And once they get to the party, they go their separate ways. But then Marina catches sight of Bastion with the same girl he had at the gala on his arm, and she's topless. And he doesn't step away from her when Marina catches him. So Marina says, fuck it, and undoes her swim top and finds a man to sit near, having met him and knowing he'll play along. And she just enjoys herself. The man is very amused, watching Sebastian struggle not to lose his shit while Marina just lounges there, topless, next to him, her eyes closed, just chilling. Bastian finally makes his way over to her a little while later and tells Marina that it's time to go. She says they were just enjoying the view. The other man says the next time she needs company, feel free to give him a call. Bastian tells the man not to be disrespectful. He says, is it respectful to let another man entertain his wife and not come over? Or is that neglectful? Bastian tells her it's time to go. He says she has a right to her fury, but if she keeps it up, he's going to throw her over his shoulder and carry her out kicking and screaming. The other guy has booked it by now, and they're kind of antagonizing each other. And she's like, why? You know, they're working their way towards separation. And he tells her to put her top back on, or he'd be happy to make a public display out of his wife there and now. And he takes the oil and starts to rub some into her skin, fingering the edge of her bikini, asking if he should make her plead in front of everyone. He gets his hand into her bottom of her bikini and slides a finger inside her and says that she will say her husband's name. And she does. When they get back into the car, she grumbles about needing to go to the animal shelter, and he brings them there. She's not happy. She wanted to go by herself. They get there, and she takes over her tasks. The pup that she's obsessed with is growing wildly and is not quick to being adopted because of being a pit mixture. And he just comes up to her and tells her that she started it with her comment about the public separation on the way over. And she tells him that he can't make all the marriage decisions on his own, that it's bullshit, and that she's gone above and beyond in this arrangement, and that he needs to stop acting like she's not involved. And he says she's right. They need to work together. And she says, ugh, Bastian, what a guy, always working with everyone. Too bad he doesn't know how to make a real move on her. And she just gets him in the dark when no one's looking and he'll forget about it in the morning. It's bullshit. She wants to be with Sebastian. She wants Sebastian Armanelli, the man who knows what's his, takes what's his, and claims it. But if he's not going to be him, he can just fuck right off. So he grabs her and kisses her, telling her she drives him insane, and then he throws her over his shoulder. He takes her to the back room where there aren't any dogs to bark at them, and then he tells her she's his, she says, for a few more months, and then taps his makeshift ring, saying he won't have to wear this after that. He'll be free. And so will she. And he says until then, she's with him. And she says it's an arranged marriage. All for him to just get some fucking shares in a company. They are showing their teeth and getting quite a little feisty. And then she flew a little too close to the sun there because before she realizes what's happening, he puts her in a kennel and closes the fucking door. She's like, what the fuck? He says he's locking her up so she can think about what she said. She says, joke's over, open the gate. Well, he will when she shows that she's learned her lesson on how to talk to and treat her husband. She says they aren't actually married. A real husband of hers wouldn't let another girl hang on his arm. And then he realizes that he actually hurt her. He admits that she mentioned separating and he reacted poorly and he apologizes. He asks if she wants to go home and she says, of course, open the gate. And he says once she shows him, she knows who her husband is, and he tells her to get on her knees and be a good wife. And then, apparently, through the door of the kennel, he shoves his dick through it and fucks her mouth. And then he pulls out and comes all over her chest. Marcus territory. And then he finally unlocks the cage and carries her out. She admits that she won't enjoy divorcing him, and he tells her he feels the same. And she asks if they can still be friends after, and he says, sure, let's go home. And they go to their own bedrooms that evening, and Bastian doesn't blame her. He's been so wishy-washy, and he locked her in a freaking cage for crying out loud. Plus, she got to him with her sad eyes, and he heard her talking earlier when she was with that guy at the party, talking about her parents, and he didn't actually know that they were so in and out of her life, drug addicts. They didn't even really give her the time of day, and that's why her relationship with her grandmother was so important. And it gives her a little bit of commitment issues and abandonment issues. Every time they get to a true point of amiable goodness,
Relationship growth.
yeah,
Anytime they're going through some sort of relationship growth, it's always met with some sort of miscommunication,
yeah,
which this book drove me crazy with.
oh, and it's honestly my least
I'm
favorite
not a
trope.
huge miscommunication trope either. Like, it's one
And
of my least
it's
favorite
on
tropes
the
in a book.
wishy-washy and the back and forth is my least favorite thing to read in a book. It truly is.
It's very
Like,
angsty.
I'm going to get to it at
yeah.
the end because I have a lot to say on it because long story short, I did like a lot of things and I almost had to write a pro and con column in my head because there were so many things I was like, oh, but I hate that kind of thing. And like so many things I was like, oh, but I do like this kind of thing. You know what I mean? Um, but it was like
Yeah,
more of a
that's
me
Shane Rose for
problem.
you.
Yeah, versus
She really knows how to push all your buttons. It's
like, but
kind of like
there was like a
you
personal
ever
button pusher.
you ever know like you know like when you're playing video games and you don't really know what you're doing, so you just press all the buttons and you hope for the best. Well, there's another side of that where you know exactly what you're doing, but you press all the buttons and hope for the best anyway because chaotic. That one, that's Shane Rose.
Yeah. Every
I
time they
love
get
her.
to a truce point, He doesn't want to rock the boat. So when he has to go off to a shareholder meeting that he probably should tell her about because a lot of the people there are the same ones who own shares in her company and the outcome of the meeting will affect her company in some way, at least for a while, he doesn't want to have the conversation and mess things up again because he's obviously an idiot. Marina wakes up feeling things are different too. She feels like she needs to stop fighting herself and give in to the fact that she might actually not want a divorce. A couple days go by of Bastian getting home very late and she doesn't see him. And she finally texts him and calls him out on it and says, pretty brattily via text message, provoking him, purposefully provoking him to say that he's going to have to punish her. When Sebastian comes home, he doesn't come home all growly and rawr. Instead, he comes home with the dog from the animal shelter that she's obsessed with, Moonshine. And he says that she said that the dog had trouble finding a home and now she's got one. Marina panics. Like, no, 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 we can't do this. That she can't get more attached to her. This is not good for her. What's going to happen when they split up? This is not what they need. Take her back. Bastian is all like calm vibes, like he took an Ativan or something because like nothing is ruffling his feathers, and has her sit down so they can talk. He says they should talk about the other night, that things clearly escalated for them and they're both under each other's skin. Marina says that this is the longest morning after a one-night stand ever. He says this isn't a one-night stand, that she's truly his wife. She's confused because he's been gone and distant for days. She's spiraling and knows how to get a rise out of him and keeps digging through his calm demeanor until something works. Obviously, her talking about moving on and finding other men. He gives in to what she's trying to do until she thinks she gets what she wants, and then he says, time for bed. Hers or his, with a smirk. He pulls her against him and pulls down her underwear. And she finally gets out that she can't do the back and forth anymore. Me either, Marina. Me either. For realsies. If he's just going to leave again, she can't do this. And I'm like, you finally act like an adult, girl.
There's that
So
backbone.
he was dealing with actual like business shit. He wasn't only running from his feelings. I'm sure there was some of that also involved because,
Yes and
again,
no.
he's a man. But
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. He tells her he's not going anywhere, that she is his wife. He spanks her and fingers her and tells her that she is his and he only wants her. He brings her into the bedroom and then they play off page and stay the night together. And that's how it goes for weeks. They take care of the new dog, take care of each other, share a bed. It's going wonderful until one of the board members pays her food truck a visit. They were probably worried about the shares going to Bastion because things were going well for them. And so they sing like a canary, telling her all about the meeting Bastion went to and how Bastion's going to harm the company. He, of course, doesn't give the full story, but he wants what he wants. So he tells her about Bastion's father forcing her grandmother's hand that resulted in a giant oil spill. Marina calls Bastian and tells him to meet her at home so they can talk. She asks if he went to that meeting the man told her about. Did he agree to increase oil at the terminals when he knows that's not what she wants? He tells her it's only part of the plan, that he can give her all the details. She says, doesn't he think he should have before now? That he doesn't know that his plan will come to fruition. And if it doesn't, what if another oil spill happens? Like when his father forced her grandmother's hand years ago to increase, she accuses him of charming her instead of being honest. He tells her she's overreacting. Marina tells him lies and omissions of truth aren't worth it for her. She tells him that she loves him, that she thought she found someone for her, but she can't do this. He pleads with her that there's always a risk, but she took a giant risk marrying him, that she needs to just give him a chance to explain why it's worth it. He asks her to go get something to eat so that he can tell her all. She gives in, saying he can have her attention for one more meal. They drive to the restaurant and she makes a comment about not eating out much. He says he should have taken her. She says it was just an arrangement. And he gets frustrated and blurts out that if he didn't love her so much, and then he realizes what he says and then lists off all the things he loves about her and then says that that is why, if it's what she wants, he will let her go. But then that skis from the board comes up to their table at the restaurant, all gloaty like he hopes he didn't mess anything up with them. And then reminds Marina that he will pay double for her shares, more than Bastion, because clearly she's for sale. Bastion was fucking done. He pulls his gun from his pants and slams the butt of it down onto the guy's head, saying, which up until now I didn't actually know he had a gun on him, but he says next
He's a
time,
mobster. He's a
but
gentleman now, and
he's
he's trying to do
supposed to
right.
be
But
like a reformed mobster that, you know.
hey,
I
he's
wish
a
they had
mobster who
played that
killed his
up.
own father. Okay,
I wish they had played that
Italian mafia style.
way more in the beginning because I am all in for mafia stuff, but it was like so like way not in the present of the book, you know. He pulls the gun from his pants and slams the butt of it down onto the guy's head, saying next time he will use the other side. He keeps threatening him until Marina tells him to stop. Bastion
He
tells Marina,
also tells them to apologize.
yeah. Bastion tells Marina they're leaving. Marina doesn't want this burden for him. She doesn't get that he would do whatever it takes to protect her. He says maybe they need some time away from each other. She says she can't fully love him if she can't have all of him, both sides of him, and have him embrace both sides of him. The first day without her, Bastian gets a call from the lawyer to drop legal documents since Marina called the lawyer informing him of her decision to donate all shares to Bastian. He hangs up on the lawyer.
Because that's rational.
Right. Well, he wants to hear from her. He doesn't want to just have the shares donated.
I'm aware.
Yeah.
She
Days go.
wants yeah, she wants it all done with, and just doesn't care. She trusts him to do what's right by the company, and she just doesn't want to deal with it anymore.
Yep.
So yeah.
Days go by and still no word from her. He gets a call from Cade. The oil terminal guy went back on their deal. The deal was supposed to stop illegal and trafficking imports if Bastion agreed to increase for the time being. The illegal imports did not stop. Bastion decided, because he was trying to use this as his method to get the illegal stuff to stop. This is all part of his plan, and then he was going to decrease it. It was the whole thing. Bastion decided to think like Marina for once and go with his gut instead of taking the time to think logically. And he orders for the man's head. Cade is like, what? He tells him no, that he's better than that. And Bastion tells him, breach their system, make them paid 5 times over back to the families. He wants that business crushed. Cade calls Marina. Marina panics at the call and assumes the worst. Cade's like, why on earth did you leave him if you care about him that much? But he gets to the point and tells her that she needs to get back and explains about the oil deal and how he's afraid that Bastion is going to cross that line without her there. Marina tells Cade she'll be there soon. Cade tells her to meet Bastion at the beach. When she gets there, she sees him staring at the water. A man suddenly comes up behind her with a gun to her head. He threatens Bastion for what he's doing to his company. Bastion, just so anticlimactically, just whips out his gun and shoots the guy. Bada bing, bada boom, dead. And pulls Marina into his arms. She's all worried that he's going to go to jail now, but he assures her he's not. I mean, hello, mafia guys. He pulls out his phone and calls for a cleanup. She tells him her horoscope that morning told her to do what she wants and needs, and that's him. And then we have an epilogue, and they're living a happily married life.
I fear that if my horoscope told me to do whatever I wanted, this would not end well for
No.
anybody involved except for myself.
Yeah.
I'd have jumped on a plane so fucking fast.
Hopped on a plane out LA.
With a dream in my cardigan.
Welcome to the land.
Woo! Am I gonna fit in?
So, who was everyone's favorite character?
Paid. But he's my favorite character. He's my overarching favorite character of the series.
Well, I can't say that without reading his book. I do think I will probably enjoy him, but so far in this book, it was Dante. I felt like he was just needling in these like little places and just kind of like
Being
Had
the
this shit-eating
Yeah.
grin going on, just kind of like, yeah, what's your sign?
Yep. I love that.
And I just, yeah, I enjoyed him.
I agree with
Crystal?
that.
I'll agree. I like Dante and I like Cade too, so
Yeah.
He also he he learns very quickly all about losing his shit over a woman when it's his book. So it's
Dante?
just
that's so
he,
funny.
he loses his chillbone and it's really funny actually.
That's
That's
funny.
fair. How about everyone's least favorite?
Honestly, probably Marina.
Oh my God.
We've picked a female main character a lot lately.
Yeah. She needed to grow the fuck up. And I think that was the worst part. Like, I need to know how old she was so I could, like, if she truly is like 19 years old, then I can give her a little bit of grace because then I could be like, okay, she's acting her age. But it's hard when we don't know. You know what I mean? She had all
I'm
these
inclined to think
moments.
she was in her early 20s,
I agree. But I just wish I had more of a definitive.
which
Like
means her
she was just so
frontal lobe
wishy-washy, was not
wasn't fully
developed, which
developed.
means that that man should not have been with her, which
We also
gross.
don't know how old he is.
I know, but she kept calling him an old man, so
To
I
be
was thinking
fair,
he was 30s. But to be fair, right. Who knows? He could have been 26. Right, we don't know.
he's not 26.
No. No. Maybe it's better I don't know their ages.
Maybe it is. Maybe it
So I
is
could
better.
just throw up now. All right. Anyways, you're up, Crystal.
I don't like Marina either.
She
They're
was just
really
so
whiny.
wishy-washy.
Sorry.
Yeah. And she had all these moments where she was like, oh, but I want him. And then he would be near her, and then she'd be like, now I don't.
Yeah.
Be like that sometimes. What can I
Angie, how about
Who
say?
was
yourself,
your
my
least
love?
favorite, Angie?
I mean, kind of weird to say, but I really did not like the fucking business people from the like company.
Oh, obviously. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the oil people. Like I'm just
Yeah.
like,
They
why
were
are all of
skeezy.
you
Yeah.
being so fucking boomer
Because
like? And you
I'm
probably all
assuming they
are
were old.
boomers, but I'm just
I'm
like,
assuming they were all old white men.
yeah, I fucking
That's
hated
how they
them.
read.
I'm just
I
like,
was like,
ew.
yeah, no, gross.
Every
Goodbye.
time I read a scene with anybody from the oil, I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
So,
Anyway,
gross.
all right. So, Amazon gives us a 4.2 and Goodreads a 3.8.
go ahead, Ariel.
I was gonna go last.
Why is that?
Well,
Because Ariel's
you
gonna break your heart, probably.
No, it's fine. I'm ready. I know she's gonna give her like a two something.
no, I wasn't.
God, that's actually way better than I was expecting. All right,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, you go first. What did you rate it?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I don't know.
You read this last year.
I
Yeah, but
know.
also her thoughts could have changed in the last year because if you think about it,
That's
I've
true.
read books. I read
Okay,
the
what did you rate it last year? And does that change to now?
So last year I was on a if it made me feel something,
she
I'm
rated it a
giving it a
5.
5.
Gotcha.
Because
I feel you. That, yeah.
yeah,
What would you rate
um
it today?
today I would give it a 4.25.
Okay. Crystal?
3.5.
So, listen, I love me some mafia. I hate me some wishy-washy. I honestly enjoyed Bastian in a lot of ways. I was here for a lot of his energy, was not here for the daddy little girl stuff. And I felt like this book needed a little less. Like it just needed, like there was so much up and down because it was so wishy-washy that some of it could have just been pulled out for me. But maybe that's part of my wishy-washy problem. So I feel like if I didn't hate Marina so much, I would have rated it higher. But for me, it was a 3.5.
It's still
You
higher
know,
than I
I,
thought you were gonna give it.
yeah,
So,
me too.
It had the potential to be a 4 for a while for me because I'm here for Mafia. I'm here for a lot of that. And honestly, that the reason why I say I would give the other books a chance is because it was an easy read.
It wasn't taxing.
Right. Even though there was too much to it, it flowed decently for me. And I like that in a book. Do I think some things could have been very easily taken out and it wouldn't have been so long or wishy-washy? Yes. But I'm not in charge of editing. So, and everyone has there's obviously reasons why that's, you know what I mean? Some people live for that wishy-washy stuff, not me.
mhm. Cool.
And that's a
Um,
preference.
peppers.
I would say that for me, I'd say the cage makes this a Serrano.
Okay, I'll agree.
Maybe, yeah, jalapeno and a half Serrano area.
I'd say more toward the Serrano area also, especially because of the "you're mine, Tragazza. You spread your legs for another man, I'll hunt him down and kill him." Ah,
I do. That's one of the reasons why I do love Mafia is the other language. But yeah, I
Yeah.
felt he could have done it more for me. This would be like, oh, give me more.
So for me, I guess I'm just gonna have to date someone who speaks another language.
Yeah,
Survivability, I'd be fine.
I would also be fine.
I would have taken all his money.
yeah. I
And
drowned when I was little. So that was one of my 9 lives. But then I joined the Navy and made it out not drowned. So I'm gonna say I'll be fine too.
Solid Aria.
yeah, I'd be good.
Cool.
I'd be good.
So that wraps up our wheel. And listen, guys, here's the thing. We decided to give our brains a little bit of a break slash refresher before we dive
A
in with some,
palate cleanser,
yeah, we're
so to
giving a
If you
speak.
palate
will.
cleanser for our brains, okay? So that's what we're going to do. And so for the next book, we're not spinning a wheel, but we decided collectively together, Ariel and
Mostly
I,
because we haven't picked a wheel yet, but we're going to.
there's that reason, but we can pretend that we're on top of our shit. We decided, and we did not decide this book 10 minutes, 5 minutes ago at all. We definitely decided this
No.
book, months ago. We are
All
going to
planned
bring
out
you a very unhinged book that I definitely didn't read the title of and like a couple of pieces of the description and decided
and
this is
said
probably the
yes.
greatest piece of literature in my life right now. So
Mm.
I
next
said
week,
yes off one word, Tines, just to give you a
yes, so
heads up there.
next week we are going to read Forked by Ruth Cardello. Angie is probably so happy she doesn't have to be here for this.
Angie, you want to come read Forked with us?
Are you
No, because
ready?
the FOMO is already gonna get me, so like I kind of have to
Oh,
read
don't worry.
it.
Don't have the FAFO. And I will explain that to you in just a minute. That's what it says. Okay. Are you ready? Is that an earthquake or is your fork happy to see you? Imagine a World War II super soldier and his unit were trapped in cutlery by the government, and the only way they could transform back was by being intimate with a woman. Shortly after moving to a new city, Mercedes buys a set of antique silverware from an estate sale and discovers she has a preference for one particular fork. Is the man who appears when the fork disappears real or a salacious fantasy? If he is real, is he crazy? Or could he actually be what he claims to be? Are you open minded enough to accept him as he is and fall in love with a fork? Cautionary warning. The spicy scenes in this novella are purely fictional. Please do not attempt to reenact any of them at home. I don't want to hear that my readers FAFO'd, forked around and found out. Tines hurt. Let's keep the forks on the table where they belong. So, we're going to give you a little palate cleanser before we dive back into our regularly scheduled programming. And honestly, though, this is not too far off from our shit. This is just the stuff we normally save for specials. And instead, it's going to be a regular episode. So, you're welcome.
We just little in between our palate cleanser while we get our shit together.
Yeah.
Give me the
But
freaking
anyways,
link.
Angie's done.
Angie, guess what? After this one, this is a 4-part series. If people are interested, there's forked, spooned, knifed, and serviced.
I'm sorry, is that when all three of them get together and
I don't
We
know,
don't
but
know. We
we
have
don't
to
know
find
yet.
out. Do you
I
want to
don't
find
think
out with us?
She's like, God fucking no.
fuck, man. I'm like,
You know
I
what's gonna
have a
happen is
favorite spoon, but it's not for that purpose.
we're gonna blow up the group chat with this, and she's just gonna experience this with us with our voice
Live.
notes of us giggling the whole time.
And the thing is, I'll probably end up reading it too.
Probably. What, Ariel?
I just read the blurb for the 4th one. Suddenly, Lauren finds herself in the unexpected reverse harem tale surrounded by 3, no, 8 World War II super soldiers falling in love with sentient spoons, forks, and knives.
Like I said,
This is not your typical sentient object romance. Expect rom-com hilarity, Marvel level action, and poignant love story wrapped in a quirky utensil fantasy universe.
and she does it in how many pages?
262.
Actually, not that bad.
No.
It's not bad, but it's a freaking
First one's only
sentient.
170, so like
I could do the first one at the very least.
we'll figure it out. Anyways,
Join us. And if you have any recommendations, because we still don't have our shit together, send them our way.
Mhm.
And make sure to keep reading.
and keep it smutty.
In the corner.
Linny introduces Chad. I think his name is Chad because my voice thing said chat. Introduces Welcome to the inside of my brain.
Welcome to Ariel just continues to not read descriptions, and then it says like wild unhinged shit while recording, and then I'm like, yeah, sweetheart, it was in the description you just read. Or when she decides that apparently when I read descriptions, she just doesn't pay attention.
So descriptions are like spoilers. Why would I want to read that? Given his suit for her. And for her. What?
I don't care. I would just hop right on it. It's fine.
What does she have to lose? My voice text is awful today.
Your
Ariel's
voice
trying
text?
something new.
I'm trying something new. It's not working well today. I was
Oh.
trying to timeline by voice texting my timeline,
Ah.
and Google did not like me voice texting this book.
Ariel's not in here yet. Let's quick shit talk her before she comes back. Just kidding.
Oh, LOL.
That's a admit
Oh, well, we could talk about. Oh,
Sorry. Ariel, I gotta kick you out for a second. I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
I was fucking with you.
Oh.
I was gonna shit talk you, and then Angie was gonna say something, and I don't know what she's gonna say.
Oh.
But it's okay.
Okay. You can shit talk me in front of me.
God. She's so terrible at this job. And her
Yep.
boobs
Fire
are
me.
too big.
if you go to like a Renaissance fair and you work at the naughty bar at the Renaissance fair with that,
You'll make a lot of money.
You will pay for Joe's entire college career.
So- And apparently, Maribel. Nope. Yep. Apparently, Maribel is connected. They had surprised. They had planned. They had surprised. Tell me. Just give me a number. Give me a number, will ya?
That was
The
the
last-
most like Massachusetts accent. Give me a number. Bro, who are you? Right
Yes.
pack, smell like a fuckboy, you'll never date one again.
Wildly, and is not being quick to be abducted. And is not being quick to be abducted. And is not being quick to be
Is not quick to be adopted.
That tea is fucking disgusting.
Is it? The nettle tea?
Yes.
Oh no. Can you add like some sugar or honey or anything to it?
I already put honey in it. I'm choking it down, but God, it's terrible.
Maybe put some tequila in it.
I have a past also that not everyone was part of. That has nothing to do with this story, but I felt that I would lighten the tension.
And that's why you're not a standalone. Ivy in the stroller and Batman, nope. And Bastion goes all caveman and forces him to apologize. And she goes a little starry eyed. And it's kind of funny. Crystal's dying at Batman.
Yeah, that's literally what I'm laughing at. She called him Batman.
I'll be right back.
I gotta tell you, my sentence says, apparently Kate found the guys who ran act at and Vasti assure her and they.
You gotta figure that shit out, man.
Plus, does he really want to bring somebody who can't fit in her gala gown? Her gala dress to the gala? Does he really want to bring somebody who can't fit in her dress? I gotta wait till you stop laughing.
I'm sorry. Gala dress to the gala.
Well, I wrote gallon apparently, so.
Sorry.
Just like fiddling with it in her pocket and doesn't. Yeah, fiddling with her in her pocket. Period.
That so much reminds me of end of sentence.
Yeah. End of sentence.
Period. Get out of here. No.
We're not doing that again. Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.